What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Base Damage. We got more Hololive. You know, it wasn't going to take me too long before I got back to some fabulous VTubers. So let's get in with today's. I wanted to make one based off of this particular level 3 last shot, I call last shot Aki Rose. I'm just going to go ahead and talk about this one first. It's basically the reason I wanted to make the deck to begin with. It's a 3-2 10k. What should I choose? Question mark. Aki Rose is a heal 1 on play, and when it attacks, if you have look only at me, which is this particular 1k1 gold bar, when you have that in play on attack, you get to pay 2 and pitch 1, and if you do, burn your opponent for 4, and she gets an extra 1,000 power till end of turn. Essentially doing the same amount of damage as a last shot Xenon. And this was from the fucking trial deck. I thought that was so crazy that they literally printed a last shot Xenon into a trial deck. Like, even for the like on play heal 1 effect, like in addition to all of that, I know Xenon has some other stuff, like if her burn 4 gets canceled, she gets a big buff, but it's whatever. The Aki still gets a little bit of a buff, and there's plenty of ways to buff her in this particular deck. But yeah, no, that's basically the focus of the deck. Also, Moroku loves him some Aki, so here you go. This goes out to Moroku. Here we go. To continue along to level 3s, we got 3 copies of hashtag Drawing Fubuki. Shirakami Fubuki is a 3-2-9-5. If your waiting room has 2 or less climaxes, this gets -1 level on your hand. Very easy. If you don't want to run this particular Fubuki, there is a Suisei level 3, which is perfect for it. So that's up to you if you want to spend the money for that. But this is a very cheap rare. This gets 500 power for each of your other Hololive characters in your backstage, so she'll be a 10-5, and she's a heal 1 on play. So really nice there. 1 copy of Towards the Future Together, Amane Kanata is a 3-2-95. This has multiple effects going off. I say multiple effects going off. You get to pick one of like several different effects. So when this is placed on stage from your hand, you get to choose one of the following effects and perform it. The first effect, draw up to 1 card, then choose one of your opponent's characters, and it gets the ability until end of the turn that your opponent can't play events or backups on that character during that card's battle. And number 2, you get to choose a card in your hand, put it into your waiting room, and if you do, put the top card of your clock into your stock, so a stock healer. And 3, all of your characters get 1,000 power and a soul. Sometimes different effects come up and can help, so just nice to have a little bit of utility there. 1 copy of Embarrassed Princess Himemori Luna. It's a 3-2-11k with 3 soul, just pointing that out. If your waiting room has 6 or more climaxes, this gets -1 level while in your hand. This gets -3 level on the stage, so she counts as a level 0, so you do have to worry about like bombs and like level 0 reversers and bombs at that point, but the character facing this card cannot side attack, so very nice to make it so your opponent has to frontal. When this card is placed on stage from your hand, you can put 1 card from your hand into your waiting room. If you do, choose a Hololive character in your clock and return it to your hand. So you get to heal to hand afterwards, so it's really cool. So really nice there, and just really, really fun. So that is going to be it for the 3s, because like I said, we did talk about the Aki Rose, so that is going to be it for all of those. Firstly is the second effect for this is the main reason we run it. The first effect involves events, and I don't put any events in this deck. It's a 2-1-7k. Okami Mio. The act ability that we use is just a little fun tech that I wanted to start putting in more decks that run green for Hololive. Act. Put a Hololive character from your hand into your waiting room. Reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a Hololive character, this gets the following ability till end of turn, that if it would attack, you can choose a character in your opponent's backstage and attack it instead. So just in case your opponent has something really annoying and you're like, fuck it, I'm hitting your back row, buddy. Here you go. And then while you're dealing with the back row with her, you can deal with the front row with this Okayu. Munching on a Rice Ball. Nekomata Okayu is a 2-1-6k. But this gets 2,500 power for each of your other Hololive characters in your backstage. So with 2 in your backstage, she gets +5k, making her a 2-1-11k. So she gets very big offensive and defensive, especially if you do any changes to the deck and put like more buffs or whatever, like maybe a level 2 assist or something in the back row. Just saying. But this is also from the trial deck, so I'm like, fuck it, 4 copies, let's go. We got 1 copy of Wishing for a Future with You, Aki. It's a 2,500 backup, and when you use the backup, you can give a Hololive character an extra 1,000 power in battle, so it's essentially a 3,500 backup, so very nice. This Iofi is a 2500 backup, but it also can be summoned as an anti-change reverser. When this card becomes reversed, if the level of the battle opponent is higher than your opponent's level, you may put the top card of your opponent's clock into their waiting room, and if you do, put that character into your opponent's clock. So, gotta have some kind of anti-change, but there's a plethora of anti-change throughout all of Hololive. Take your pick, honestly. It's really cool. We got 2 copies of this particular Luna that is going to help the next level 1 that we talk about. Wishing for a Future with You, Himemori Luna is a 1055. It gets -1 level on the stage. Man, it's kind of whatever. But when this card attacks, choose one of your other Hololive characters, and that character gets plus X power till end of turn. X is equal to that character's soul times 1000. So you mainly want to run this for the Fubuki here. The level 1 engine of the deck is a 1045. During your turn, if all of your characters are Hololive, this gets plus 2k power, making her a 6/5. And with the Climax combo that we're going to talk about here, she'll be a 7/5. So when this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, if the Fox of Possibility, which is the other gold bar, so this is an 8 gold bar deck, by the way. If the Fox of Possibility is in your Climax area, and you have another Hololive character, you can discard 1 card. If you do, choose up to 2 Hololive characters in your waiting room, return them to your hand. So just really, really nice. It's basically the salvaging Zekken Yuki in my mind. So let's do a little bit of math as well. If you pair her up with the Luna, she will have a minimum of 2 soul because of the gold bars. So you can give an extra 2k power here, and there's like several other cards that you can give buffs with to this particular Fubuki, but she at minimum can be like an 85 if you have the Luna. So because this can add back 2 Hololive characters from waiting room, you don't need to field as many of them. You can kind of keep like a cycle going. Like, because gold bars get stuck in your hand, you can kind of play 1 or 2 of these, get a whole bunch of salvaging off, maybe salvage a couple copies of this particular Fubuki, and then just keep it going every single turn. And just keeping that cycle up is very nice. 2 copies of Kanatart Amane Kanata is a 1035. She gets 500 power for each of your other Hololive characters, so a full field would make her a 55. But when she attacks, if the character facing her is level 2, this card gets plus 6k power till end of turn. So she's a level 2 Slayer. She'll end up becoming 11/5 by her own ability before anything else. We got 2 copies of Towards the Future Together Okami Mio. It's a free 2k backup, really nice to have. Getting to the level 0s, because one, just you need to have Climax swappers in the deck. Even though this is 8 gold bar, you should not ever have an issue in terms of having the Climaxes, but sometimes you might have the wrong Climax in hand, just saying. So this one, the Wishing for a Future with You Hakui Koyori is very nice to have. It's a 0015. When this is in the middle position of your center stage, she gets an extra +1 soul, always nice. But when this card is placed on stage from your hand, you can pay 1, pitch a Climax to salvage back a Climax from your waiting room and add it back to your hand. So just being able to swap it around and get what you need, even though, like I said, they're gonna be in your hand. Like there is no denying that. It's gonna be, you're gonna have these in your hand, but say, for example, you got Fox of Possibility, but you need your Aki Rose. You can do the swap, you see? We got 3 copies of Overwhelming Curiosity Shirakami Fubuki. The first effect of this is actually very interesting because it works for both of our Climax combo cards. Because both of these Climax combos are from the same trial deck. I just thought that was so crazy. So, it's if you have 2 or more other Hololive characters, all of your other the level 1 Fubuki and the level 3 Aki Rose get 1000 power. So that's even more power and buff to this thing that is already going to be huge. And honestly, the Brainstorm effect kind of has some synergy with the level 1, because it is your typical trial deck Brainstormer, yes, but it's a pay 1 tap self mill 5. A lot of the trial deck Brainstormers now are a mill 5, and for each Climax that you reveal, draw 1 card. So this has that, but because you're milling a lot more, you get a lot more cards in your waiting room and a lot more options for when you finally pull off the combo. So that you have like a plethora of options and should be able to get what you need. So really nice. It's just the fact of, because you're like milling extra, you're milling like 5 instead of the typical like 3 or 4. That is more advantageous to your Climax combo. So the only downside is you have to reverse. That's whatever. three copies. Sorry, I thought I had two for a second. Relaxing by the Pool Okami Mio is a 00500. When this is placed on stage from your hand, look up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 2 cards from amongst them, put them on top of your deck in any order, put the rest into your waiting room. So you basically get to pick what your triggers are going to be. It's very nice. Or if you see like gold bars coming up or something, you know. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand or put into the waiting room from the stage, you can pay 1, pitch 1, search your deck for a Hololive character. So on play or on death, you get to search. It's very versatile. It's such a good card. 3 copies of this other card is also from the trial deck. Courageous Act Nekomata Okayu is a 001k. Your other character in the middle position of your center stage gets plus 500 power, so a little bit extra, especially if it's your Fubuki. And then she's also just a global 500 in general. So if you have like her and the Fubuki in the backstage, it means globally all of these Fubukis are getting plus 15. So they're going to be 6Ks before anything else, like even defensively. That's kind of where the Mios having the free 2K backup kind of comes into play. It's very nice to have that buff. You can get even more buffs. The Fubuki, she has to reverse, but she's probably gonna reverse. Let me put it that way. Very, very nice. 2 more copies of this. Let's see. 2 copies of Towards the Future Together Shirakami Fubuki is a 001k. When this is placed on stage from your hand, choose one of your Hololive characters. It gets 1500 power. There you go. Even more buff to the level 1. When this card is put into your waiting room from the stage, you can discard 1 card. If you do, look up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 level 1 or higher card from amongst them, reveal it to your opponent, put into your hand, put the rest into your waiting room. If you decide to put events in the deck, this can grab level 1 and higher events, you know, via this effect. But it also does mill. Because it's level 1 or higher, you can grab copies of the level 1 Fubuki, and then you also like mill a little bit more to set up, like I said, more cards into your waiting room to be able to grab back with the level 1 combo. So very nice. Now, I will say, I believe this one's kind of expensive right now. It's one of the double rares, I think, shot up in price. So just stating. And lastly, we have Professor of Manners Tokoyami Toa is a 001k. When this attacks, choose one of your other Hololive characters, and that character gets plus 1500 power and character encore until the end of your opponent's next turn. So you can swing with this, give the buff to the Fubuki that's already massive, like all the buffs we've already talked about here. But then you could also give it a character encore. You're going to be salvaging back characters anyway with the combo, so if you're able to keep the combo going over and over and over, it might be beneficial to, you know, oh look, I'm just going to go ahead and pitch an extra character for the encore effect, and then just salvage it back again the next turn, assuming you haven't refreshed and everything. And that's going to be it with 4 copies of the Fox of Possibility. I chose the promo versions for the full art. It just looks so good. And 4 copies of Look Only at Me for the Aki Rose combo. And that is it for the deck. Because this kind of feels like Zekken Yuki, it kind of feels like it's just Hololive Zekken Shot, but in the form of like a trial deck, and then you just add extra stuff. So it's very cool, and for the most part, this deck is very cheap. The only 2 cards I think are expensive in this, like I said, is this level 0 Fubuki that you can replace, but it's a very good card. And this Mio I know is like $5 to $6 a piece. So that's up to you if you want to run this, but once again, it's just kind of options. There's plenty of things you could replace it with and just make this really, really fun. The biggest thing is all you have to do is grab like, you know, 2 copies of the trial deck and you're good to go. So, and that is going to be it for the deck. Thank y'all very much for watching. It is greatly appreciated. Please leave a like and a subscribe if you want. If not, hey, thanks for stopping by to check it out. And we will see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.